I'm Jim Rogers. I will have to say you're extremely hard to get connect to, but here we are. We did it finally.
Well, thanks very much, Jim. I have to say it's an absolutely great pleasure. I don't know if you, I'm not sure if your assistant read the email or if you read my email, the initial introduction email where I said that you shaped me as an investor when I read your first book. I don't know if it was your first book, but the Investment Biker book in the mid 90s when I was in the tech industry. And
Right.
I was so inspired by it that I moved from being like a Microsoft consultant doing tech work to really studying into up on commodities, reading a lot of stuff from another friend of yours, an old friend, Mark Faber.
Yes,
And,
yes, yes.
and then I became basically like started investing my own money in tech stocks and then made the transition to commodities. I shorted the NASDAQ stocks and predicted that bubble because I was in the tech industry so I could see it. And then I transitioned to a firm called Sprott, which you might have heard of Eric Sprott in the commodity
Of
world.
course. Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, so I joined that firm in 2002 in the early days, and it was super exciting to play that bull market. I imagine it was sort of similar to your experience in the 70s with the roaring bull market there.
Well, Kevin, so now you're rich. You
Yeah,
can
I've
send me
done
a royalty.
okay.
You can send me a royalty check.
Yeah, like yourself, you also inspired me. I was really inspired by that first book, and then your second book there around the millennium, Adventure Capitalist, as you hopped in a Mercedes instead of a motorbike. You traveled around the world and had all these great adventures, which it's a short podcast. We only have an hour, I guess, or whatever. But I could talk to you about all those adventures for days in the future. But what really inspired me as well is your desire to just basically sort of get out of the investment world at 37 and manage your own money and see the world, right?
Well, Kevin, I grew up in a small town where my phone number was five. And if you grew up in a place where your phone number is five, you either never leave or you want to see the world. And I wanted to see the world.
Well, you certainly have, and I know you had a daughter, and you wrote years ago about taking her to China or Singapore, where you live now, and wanting her to learn Mandarin and get all these life experiences. So I assume that's working out well.
Both of my daughters now speak perfect Mandarin. I mean, TV Mandarin. So, yes, it all worked. That part is fine. That will not make them successful in life, but it's a good start.
Well, I'm sure, they say the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, so I'm sure they're going to do extremely well. Um, a quick question for you, Jim. So I don't know if you reveal how old you are. I probably could have looked it up on the internet, but at your age, what gives you dopamine these days? Like, how do you get your dopamine after all these crazy adventures you've had being all over the world? What fires you up today?
The world. The world. I wake up every day and something new is happening someplace, and I still go to many places and travel. I mean, the world, Kevin, to me is still an exciting place.
Yeah, it's a fascinating place, and we're going to get into some of the developments in this graphene market in a minute. But before I get into that, maybe just give the viewers a little insight into your investment style. I think we're sort of similar in that we like to go into interesting little nooks and crannies and look where other people aren't looking, and that's what excites us is that investment process. And so I write a lot about. I just wrote an article this morning about biases. All the things that recency bias and status quo and, confirmation bias and how hard it is for people. Like people just look for a reason not to do the work, not to do the due diligence and not to dig. And that prevents them from seeing great opportunities when they come. And so, how are you wired to invest? Maybe just a little shot on your investment style.
Well, the one thing I have learned over time is if I invest in places other people are not investing, first, it's probably cheap, and second, it's probably not overexploited, and maybe I will make some money. I don't want to invest with everybody else unless I'm selling short. If everybody's doing something, it may be a place to sell short. But Kevin, I like to be the only one. I like to people look at me and say you're crazy.
Yeah,
That's
yeah, I love it.
encouraging.
Yeah,
That's exciting.
when I started looking at this company Hydrograph, I got doors slammed in my face everywhere. Nobody wanted to hear about it. No one wanted to talk graphene. There was all this aversion in the sector because of the losses of the last 10 years. And when I did this thing, I use this Google Trends. And you could put in trends.google.com and you could put in a word like graphene and you could see how many people are Googling it around the world. And it shows you the chart. And you could see that in 2021 was the last time it spiked up and everyone was excited. And just basic technical analysis, you can see it flatline, like nobody cared.
That's exciting. That's encouraging.
The amazing thing is that, when you dig in and you start doing the due diligence, and because of my reputation of finding 10 baggers, when I really push some of my friends and some people I know in the business, I say, you got to look at this. Please look at this with me. I want you to see. And I swear I'm batting 1,000%. Everyone I talk to buys, which means it's going viral. You know what I mean?
Well, if everybody's buying, maybe I should sell.
Oh, we're so early. We're so early. The market cap's nothing compared to the opportunity, right? And you look at these things, and that's one thing Eric Sprott taught me is, there's times like I do a lot of technical analysis over my life, but there's times when you get into a stock with patents and it's going to have recurring revenue and it's transformational, and you got to just do the math, model it and focus on the market cap. And a stock like this goes up and I ignore it. I say to myself, I'm pissed off. Why the hell it's been up 7-fold in 2 weeks? I'm like, this stock should be up another 100-fold. This is ridiculous. And it makes me stay in the game,
You're going to be rich someday. Don't worry. That's why you are rich now. You're going to be even richer. Don't worry.
Yeah, well, I think this is a stock where, it has the potential where you put $1 million in it and it makes you $1 billion.
Where is Sprott now?
He's retired and he's traveling the world. He's a huge silver bull. So that's what his focus is. And I've tried to send some. I know he's looked at this, so he has had a look at it. He watched the Jay Taylor video recently, I've heard, and I hope he watches this video. He's such a silver bull. That's all he sort of wants to look at today.
Well, I own silver too, and I'm optimistic about silver, so I hope he's right.
I'll tell you, when I make a bunch of money on this Hydrograph, when it fully matures, if the silver market hasn't done what we think it's going to do, and I still own a lot of silver, I'm going to be able to personally corner the market.
Oh, good. Well, I hope you do. I own a lot of silver, so do it.
So, I wanted to comment because you get all these haters on social media, right? And some a-hole, when I said, give me some questions, I got a fair bit of followers on Twitter. And I said, give me some questions to talk to Jim. And some a-hole says, he's been saying the same thing for 25 years, don't even interview him. And I immediately responded like, what people don't understand is that it's up to the interviewer to ask the right questions. Because if you just go and ask Jim, like all these guys that are into gold or silver, yeah, go ask Jim and you ask me. We are saying the same damn thing for 25 years. The Fed's going to print money, governments are going to be irresponsible, and gold's going to keep rising and silver's going to rise. So that's, you got to ask better questions, right, Jim?
Well, I don't think I'm going to stop saying I'm bullish on silver, no matter what. But I hope that I say that for the rest of my life. Not every day, obviously, but unless something really strange happens, silver is going to continue to be in a bull market.
So let me ask you this, Jim. You obviously are known as like basically, I'd say the original or I call you the OG, the original gangster for graphene market, And you said it's like, it's going to be like electricity or it's bigger than the internet. What I've said about Hydrograph is it's their patents with their superior technology because they can make a 99.8% pure carbon, 0.2%. It's a 0.2 oxygen. So it's essentially 100% pure, beautiful product, 100% crystalline sp2 bonding, which is a step above everybody else. And so I look at it like they have the patents as if it's in the dawn of the oil age, and they're the ones who have the patents to be able to extract petrochemicals and make all these products. And it's a huge, huge, huge market, even bigger than the petrochemical market.
Well, I don't understand. Are people saying that there's something wrong with your facts, with your argument?
No, well, look, a lot of people won't even look. That's the problem. They see a spiky chart and they say, there's already been all these companies, they all fail. I'll look at it later when it comes back. But what I sort of wanted to get out of you is, if Hydrograph does what it says it's going to do, how big is this sector? How big tell us about the graphene market and why you've been so bullish and following it for all these years.
Well, I mean, I think you know better than I know. I mean, graphene has had a gigantic past and it's going to have an even bigger future. I mean, I know people who say that graphene is one of the most important technologies of this decade, this century. I mean, I'm not smart enough to know that, but I know plenty of smart people who say it is. So I don't understand why people are negative, unless it's because it's already gone up.
No, it's just because they lost money. People lost money, and all those companies that were mining graphite and trying to manufacture graphene from graphite have failed for the most part to really make a high quality product that could be adopted by you need to have it super pure, or else you're going to have problems in all the different serious applications, right?
Well, Kevin, one of the things I have learned in life is it's not easy getting rich. I wish it were. I mean, I wish, I wish all this were very, very easy. But you have just outlined some of the problems that always arise. So, if you know an easy way to get rich, please do not announce it. Send me an email. I want an easy way, but I have never found an easy way.
I'll send you a copy of my book, and I'll send you some of the notes for the next book I'm writing right now that really gets into the all these biases and things like that. But I know you're already wired to do things, to go where other people don't want to look. Now, I've done a deep dive of late, and I went into it, funny enough, for biology in this I did a book on mind, body, and finance, and how everything connects. And that the idea is that our brain, our body is like a supercomputer, a biological supercomputer, and we have to train ourselves to be able to go dig in. And so, in that process, I discovered a lot of amazing things that people have figured out, that at the atomic level, there's like a rudimentary intelligence to things, like, atoms and electrons and the way these things behave. And there's something called self-organizing systems. And that's what graphene does, is when you mix it with things, the graphene, the carbon, the nanocarbon particles, they arrange the material to make it, you mix it with a polymer, and all of a sudden it's not some brittle cheap plastic, it's bulletproof, and that's something that we don't really understand, kind of like gravity. It's we could talk about it and say and measure it and see it happens reliably, but we don't really know why. Just like we don't know, why is there matter, why is there time? So we have to just accept it. At the atomic level, weird things happen with graphene, and that's quantum computing as well.
Well, it sounds like graphene is smarter than I am. I hope so.
Well, it's pretty wild stuff. I'll send you some stuff on that to read. I also did a little bit of work because I'm so excited about this company, and I looked at companies, the fastest move ever from 100 million to 100 billion, and I think it was AOL topped the list in 7 years. And then there's other companies like Google, and I think Home Depot was like number 8 or something. And I look at all the different the road they had, the struggles, the competition, what they had in the way of patents. And when I go through the list and I look at, sort of the tailwinds that those companies had and the headwinds they had, and sort of checking boxes, and I say, this company, every single box, it checks as well or better than all of the companies. And that's why I said it's going to be a viral stock, and it's going to achieve that landmark in absolute record time. And I actually think it'll be also achieve the mark of fastest to 1 trillion, which is
Oh my
it's a
God,
crazy bold statement. And, but I'm putting my reputation on the line because I believe it. What else am I going to say, right?
Kevin, even if it's not the fastest, if it's just fast, you'll be happy.
Yeah. Well, I know it
Everybody you
doesn't.
know will be happy.
Well, I know it doesn't need to be the fastest, but I'll tell you why I think it's going to be the fastest. Because I've got 18-year-old kids using AI now who are modeling
Yeah.
this thing, and they're sending me, notes and going, "How's this look? Is this right? And is this what you come up with?" And I'm like, "Go, man! That's it. That's what I see too." And I know everybody's going to do it. And the old guard, all these lazy guys on the street that are used to playing a game, and they don't want to look at a new sector, and they're busy looking at what's in front of them today that they can get investment banking business from. Where's the big fees today? They're not doing the work. And then the bigger funds are like, "Oh, it's too small. I'll look at it later." And that's what makes me sure that like the average guy could use AI. And I interviewed the inventor, this guy. He's going to win a Nobel Peace Prize, by the way, or sorry, Nobel Prize. He's won every award in science. His name, Dr. Sorensen. You can see. I sent you a link to to my video recording with him, and he's a genius. I love him already. He says when I said it's really high tech, right? Like and this stuff sounds very complicated. Like you could get into like the atomic level or self-organizing systems and buckyballs and whatever. Crazy. It's very high tech, complicated stuff at that level. But when you look at their technology and what they do, I like to call it like a scuba tank, some acetylene, and a spark plug.
Wow.
And so he says it's not esoteric. And like all the great discoveries, it's simple, it's beautiful, net zero emissions, and anyone who digs in and understands it can see it. And the best thing about it is, as this market's moved along, there's now the ISO 9001 standards. So the Graphene Council has verified, this is independent verification that their quality is what it is. And none of the other producers can come close on the crystalline nature. Everyone wants to hide the fact that they can't make 100% sp2 bonding crystallized graphene. And that's why this company is going to go berserk and everyone's going to see it. And I'm trying to get the story out because my biggest fear is it getting taken over too soon. And I'll be pissed off. It'll make a lot of money, but I'll be pissed off.
But Kevin, the more skeptics, the better,
Yeah,
as
yeah.
you know, as you well know. So the more skeptics, the better. I mean, Christopher Columbus was told he couldn't do it. It was impossible. And you know the rest of the story. So look, be happy you have skeptics.
For
More
sure.
skeptics, the better.
Well, thanks very much. Did you have any other questions or comments? Did you have anything you wanted to ask me or anything to say to the viewers?
How do we get rich fast?
Well, I say there's one. I think everyone should look at this company, despite the run it's had. They should look at Hydrograph. And in my opinion, there's no substitute for due diligence. And I've written this article this morning. I say, look at all your biases and decide why are you not willing to look? And it includes the fact, one of the most recent biases, I'm sure you've seen this 1,000 times. I'm getting lots of friends that didn't look at it early and buy some already. They're all messaging me now going, congrats. I'll look at it later and I'll buy some when it pulls back.
I've heard it before. It's not my first rodeo, as you know.
Yeah.
Uh, it's just, I mean, the investment world has heard all of this before. So you know you're on the right track.
Well, Jim, thanks very much. Maybe I'll pop over to Singapore sometime and see you. And if you're ever in North America, let me know. And I'm going to go visit. They have this. Have you heard about the Geek? It's called the Graphene Engineering Innovation Center in Manchester.
I know nothing about it.
Okay, well, I'm going to go there. This is so graphene, and then the Nobel Prize was given out for the discovery of it from the professor at the University of Manchester back in
I know.
2004. Yeah.
Yep,
So
yep.
subsequent to that, they set up, and this has just happened in the last few years, they set up this Graphene Engineering Innovation Center. And all the big companies in the world are coming there, and they're sampling different materials, and Hydrograph's material is proving to be the best in every measure. And so that's why they've got 65 to 70 companies all doing work now on, to see what they could make with it. The CEO, Kirsten Buer, says that it's about an 18-month cycle for when companies start using their samples and testing and saying, okay, this is what we need to put this much percent in our polymer, this much percent in our whatever, so that we've tested it and it's, it's going to give us this UV resistance property. It's going to reduce friction. It's going to do this. It's going to improve the battery. They got acid battery charge times go up by 47%. Like it's amazing. I did the ROEI calculations, and the value proposition to put in this their graphene into a lead acid battery is like 11,500% return on the energy invested. Like it's off the charts. So the use case is unstoppable. Like you have to do it or I call it an extinction level event. You're either going to get graphene and put it in your products and make them better, or you're going to go extinct.
And Kevin is going to be rich.
Yeah, and I probably have to go into hiding.
We hope you'll get very rich.
Well, I guess have you got your fill? Have you bought enough stock?
Well, Kevin, one thing I've learned is there's no such thing as rich enough. I never met anybody who had enough. Even the ones who think they have enough want more.
Yeah, well, my son actually found this for me. He's been looking at it for 2 years. He's only made 2 tweets on social media, both about graphene. And he finally convinced me to have a look. And I immediately bought 2 million shares just off the chart and started doing research. And then I did a preliminary call with the CEO and I bought like another 8 million shares. And then I started talking about it a little bit on social media because I wanted somebody stop me. Somebody tell me point me to something that tells me I'm wrong so I don't keep buying. And every time someone pointed something out, when I could tell by their question, they had no freaking idea what they're talking about, or their statement. I mean, it just showed complete ignorance, including somebody who was a PhD and wrote a paper on graphene, who then later admitted that he hadn't looked at graphene market in 3 freaking years. He was, and him and this other guy are advising people to avoid the story and saying, if you can't make a 2D, single layer graphene product, it's worthless. But they hadn't even looked,
That should be music to your ears.
Oh, it was. So I went to 18 million shares, and then I see him post, well, if they have what they say it is, I'm 1,000% going to be their biggest supporter.
The more skeptics, the better. That.
Well, and that's the thing. For me, the more research and due diligence I did and deeper understanding of what this company actually has, it got better and better. And I just keep buying more and more because it's like Dr. Chris Sorensen, his reputation, he's like National Professor of the Year in 2007. He's won every award you could win. The man's, I think he's around 72. I wish he'd adopt me. He was a Vietnam vet. He unimpeachable character. And I just think there's just no way, like for this to be a fraud, which a lot of people would be like, oh, it's too good to be true. Well, he would have to be a fraud. And why would he destroy his career? The Graphene Council that does the ISO standard would have to be a fraud. Like all these people, all these companies looking at it, signing NDAs and working with them over the last year would have to be out of their minds. And people are all like, wait for the contracts. I want to see a contract, And I'm like, if you wait for the contracts, you're going to pay about 10, 20, maybe 100 times more.
Be very nice to your son.
I will. I don't know what to give him as a summer bonus. I hired him to work with this and to help me with social. My new book that I'm going to come out after this one is a story of a father teaching his son about how to invest and how to wrap, you got to find sectors, you wrap your arms around them. You're like, where are the levers? What am I, what makes this sector go? And what does everybody think about it? And are they missing something? And if you could find something they're missing that's valuable, then you're like, I got it. And then all you have to do is tell them. You just have to shine a light. And then they all go, oh, I get it. And then they buy it.
That will be a very good book. Well done. Well done.
Thanks very much, Jim. I can't tell you, it's a great pleasure. And it's fun to watch you get out of a car. And I guess you're at home now?
I'm at home now. I want to go to bed, yes.
Okay, well, it's what is it? 9:30 p.m. in Singapore.
It's
I hope you
9:30 in
sleep.
Singapore,
I hope you
and I
sleep
have
well as a happy shareholder. Cheers, Jim.
hooray, and I have a lot of things to do tomorrow, so I do need to go to bed.
Okay, thanks
But
very much, Jim. Great pleasure.
how old is your son?
He's 22, and he'll probably never work for anyone again because of this company.
Be very, very nice to your son.
I
Yes,
love both
yes,
my
yes.
kids. I've got a daughter as well. That's fantastic. She's going over to be a physiotherapist. She's going to school in Brighton.
Wow,
Yeah.
wow. Well done, well done. Okay, Kevin. Hooray! Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Let me know if I can help in any way.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jim. Bye.
Another way to perhaps look at what Hydrograph is going to do. It's going to take all that hype of the late zeros and early teens that brought people in and turned them sour
Yeah.
because nobody could live up to it. We're going to live up to that hype. And once we get revenue positive, we're going to build a laboratory, and I'm going to have a hell of a lot of fun. And
That's so awesome.
I'm going to come up with more shit. Absolutely.
That's so awesome.